Hello, precious people. I'm Jacqueline Parks. Welcome to my channel, Stampin' Turtles. Today, see, little turtles. Today we're going to be doing a seascape and maybe even a sunset if we have time. So let's get started and just start doing what we do. I am waiting to see if I can even hear myself. Let's see. I don't know. So far it is not doing anything. Let me see if I close it and go back in. Oh, yeah, it's going. Perfect. Now I can see it. So, anyways, welcome. I'm so glad you are joining me today. And we are going to do this wonderful seascape. I'm going to show you start to finish what it's going to be. And if you have joined me before on my channel, you know I've tried to do this several times. Even with my friend Janice, we tried to do this, and for whatever reason, my Wi-Fi or my camera or other factors have kind of made it really difficult to show you this. So maybe today we will actually get to show you start to finish how it looks, and you will be able to see it and copy me, go along with me to do it, because this is something that I think a lot of people are interested in. And we're actually starting to go into the whole fall season. So saying goodbye to our beaches and our pools and our warmth is a sad time for me. A lot of people look forward to fall. So let me know in the chat, are you someone who enjoys fall more than summer? I'm a summer girl. I was born and raised. Janice, I cannot believe that you are joining me. Aren't you still on vacation, girl? I have loved all your amazing pictures and your paintings you've shared. I mean, it has been a joy just to follow along with you. I feel like I'm living vicariously through you. Makes me want to go travel. Maybe someday, right? But I was just asking people, are you for fall or summer? Which is your favorite season of the year? I'm not even gonna draw. Is this crazy? I'm just gonna paint. This is totally blank, nothing on here. I'm just gonna start painting. I already have some blue in my palette. I never waste it. I know some people like to clean their palettes every time. I just use whatever's on there. I'm not going to worry too much about it. So now I'm going to go, let's see if I can do a straight line. Maybe a little bit right there. And see how quick and easy. And you can make it a little bit more straight. I'm not using a ruler or tape. You can be really persnickety if you want, but I'm not a persnickety kind of person. All right, definitely need some paper towels. But yeah, Janice, I was saying how we were trying to do this before and it got kind of sabotaged by a phone call that stopped the whole video, which was very frustrating because we had such great advice for people, didn't we, when we did that video? So I'm hoping that we can get together again when you get back maybe and do this again. But look at how I'm leaving a lot of white space. I don't know if you guys can see this that great. There's some white space in there. In fact, I might be able to do a close-up. Let's see. It's a little shine just because it's wet, but you'll be able to see it really good. I'm really trying to make this loose, quick, free. You want to be able to enjoy the medium of watercolor because it's supposed to be spontaneous and free. It's not supposed to be like super detail oriented, although I have seen a lot of watercolor artists out there who do extremely detailed photorealistic. That takes many hours. Many hours. I don't have many hours. I have, let's say, 10 minutes or more. You know, 10 minutes or less sometimes. So I'm switching brushes now just because this was to get that basic seascape in the background. Now I'm gonna mix up a color that is, let me show you. I'm gonna mix up a color. What I like to do, some people use a spray bottle, but I just put a little drop of water, like in each well that I'm going to be using, probably the whole thing. But I do need to buy some more. I think it's burnt umber. This is probably burnt sienna, burnt umber. I need some burnt umber. I am all out. Thought it was at the studio, could not find it there. So I need some burnt umber. All right, so all these have nice droplets of water in them, so they should be good to go. Let's see, well, how do we make sand color? So as you can see on my palette, this is dirty. I'm gonna incorporate whatever this was. I don't even know what it was. But already I just put a little of that very pale orange, yellow orange. And look at this color. It's in whatever was on here. I think it was kind of like a green. I don't even know. But this is what we're going to use. So now let's switch back here. And what I'm going to do is kind of make the sandy shore right there. And what I want you guys to notice is I'm going to water it down. Water, water, water. Lots of water. And just kind of, oops. Just kind of spread that out. So I like to put down the initial color and then just spread it out a little bit. Already it's looking like a beach scene. It's perfect. It doesn't have to be exact, right? Let's see what else I'm going to put on here. So now I'm waiting. This is the waiting game for me. I just put that in and I might go and do the sky next. So, because we got to switch around. We can't just stay in one place. We got to move around the whole painting while it's wet. So I'm getting this nice and wet with my sky. And let's see. I might wiggle that around. I am a little bit concerned. This is still wet right there. So if I touch it, it will definitely go towards the sky. But sometimes that's okay. Sometimes we're okay with that. It just depends on what we're doing. See how it's already bleeding up? Because this was super wet right there. But I'm going to switch to a different blue, I think. I like to mix up a couple different blues from my sky. But I like cobalt blue, probably. So let's see what happens when I drop this in. Look at this. So the cool thing about this painting that I'm recreating is that I did this as a private lesson with a sweet, sweet lady who came by my studio last week. And she did fabulous. Never did watercolor before, but she did fabulous. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, you know, we can put this online, let you guys see what my process was, right? And we can just kind of go along with that, right? Now look at that. We got some blue sky with the shine in the top, but that's okay. Let me see if get a close up. So if you like some clouds, watch what happens when I dry my brush on some paper towel. Okay, that is dry. That brush is pretty dry. It's damp but dry. And now we're gonna lift, if it'll do it. Come on. Sometimes we gotta get it a little bit more water in there. So see how I'm lifting that out? You can lift as much as you want. You can have as many clouds as you want. But I think that's pretty good right there. So I've lifted up a bunch of clouds right there. And what some people like to do with their clouds, I'm gonna dab this, watch what I'm doing, just like the little tip of my brush into the Payne's Gray, just a little bit. And then we're gonna go back over to the clouds and we're just gonna go on the bottom of these clouds, okay? Because we want it to look kind of a little stormy maybe. So how's that? Does that look kind of cool? We can put some more up here. It kind of makes it interesting in my opinion. But now I'm going to do the same thing I did with the beach part, and I'm just going to I'm just going to smooth out any of that I don't like. Just smooth it out a little bit. We can smooth out the top. It just makes it a little more interesting. I might do a whole video on clouds someday. Maybe, hey Janice, we could do that when you get back. We could do some kind of, we could record it and then just post it instead of trying to go live. Because really going live can be stressful. But yeah, we could totally do that. We can make this look, we could do a whole thing on clouds. That'd be kind of cool. All right, so I like how these little gray clouds are in there. So here's another thing I want to go down in size. So I'm looking at this size brush now. Can't tell you the number. It could be a 6, could be an 8. Round, but it is a round brush. And I'm going to zoom back out so you can see what I'm doing over here. So I am picking up some of this turquoise blue. And when you're painting waves in your ocean, I want you guys to leave some white space, right? I did down here pretty good, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start making some longer pieces like this that are darker, and we're just going to let it get more and more larger as we go towards the bottom of this sheet of paper. So we're going tiny little strips, right? Tiny little strips. That's how we make it, okay? And you can make it darker towards the top. And if you didn't leave enough white space, you can always use some acrylic or gouache white to bring back those waves. I'm liking how this is looking so far, but now I'm going to make these a little thicker here and there and just stagger them. I'm not even really looking at a picture. Let's see how I'm just kind of getting in there. And where I did put some of this white, I might try and do some shadowing underneath it. But here's the thing, layers. You guys got to remember, watercolor is about layering. We're not trying to get the final saturated brightness from our first immediate brush stroke. Gotta be a little patient. You gotta let it build. And see how I'm just kind of building a little bit back here now? And the colors is not that important, to be honest. You want to focus more on your values than your colors. But this should look pretty good. It's starting to look like a beach to me. And what I'll do, and I do have like a little fence I might want to put in here and some grasses. So let's go ahead and switch to a smaller size brush. And since I didn't draw anything, I have to really be careful. I don't want to do something where, I don't want to do it where it's totally not in perspective. So if you're not really good at doing drawings of perspective stuff, then make sure you do this with pencil first. But we're going to put like a post here. Then we're going to put a post here. And we're going to put a post a little further apart down here. And we're going to put another one even further apart over here. All right, and then the width, we're going to change the width of the one closest to us to be thicker. And this is not the color it's going to stay. We're going to end up making it a little darker, but I wanted to go light until I was sure where I wanted things. All right. So now this one's further away, I think, but not that much further away. So we're going to make it thick as well, but not quite as thick as that one. And this doesn't have to be exact. And then we'll make this one just a little bit thicker, maybe. And this one, because it's just not dark enough. We gotta make it dark enough. Okay, so see all that? We got a little post going. These are the posts. Now we're gonna make them connected. So we can do 3 little connectors. And so this is gonna go like that. Do 3. And then this one connect to this. And see how it's kind of going that way. And then this is going to go across like that. And across like that. So see how I did that? And this is super light. We'll end up making it darker. But I didn't mix up any greens yet, but I wanted to go over here while I got you zoomed in and just do a couple little wispy grass things right there, okay? We're just going to put a couple in there, maybe a couple right here. Make sure you got lots of water on your brush, because if you don't have water on your brush, it's not going to flow. And I'm doing this really light. I didn't want it to be something where you're like, oh, it's not dark enough. I want this to be light, okay? We want it to be kind of loose, spontaneous, and just do a few here. We can even do some over here. Just a couple. All right, so now I'm looking at this going, what else do we need in here? Shadows. We don't have shadows. So let me zoom back out so you can see what I'm doing over here. I'm mixing some of this turquoise blue with some of that green and maybe even some of that post color. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make the shadow go down and across from these posts, okay? And you got to make some of these things too, okay? This is your shadow. And it's supposed to kind of mimic what is up here. And so we got those shadows down. Now we're going to put some shadows in where the grass is, okay? So zooming in, you can see a little bit more of what I'm doing. And now it's going to go down. We're going to make some footprints too, okay? Let's make some footprints in the sand. And you know, there might be a couple, like maybe there was more than one person walking to the water. Who knows, right? So that same color shadow is in there, and I don't know if you can kind of see that, but this is very light. We're looking at the pale color right now. So we're not trying to make it super saturated yet. We just want to do that first little wash. So now I'm going to go back to this because I want to go back into my ocean and do some more of these darker shades of the turquoise. So I'm just going to do right up against that skyline. And try and maintain a nice straight line if you can. If you can't, it's okay. I don't know if even like some of the masters that we really admire now, if they were super good at creating straight lines, straight perspective. I'm mixing in a little different blue in with that turquoise for a second. because I want to see what happens if I add some color into here that makes it a little different, right? Just because if you have the same color through the whole thing, it's not as interesting. And now I'm going to mix a little of the green in with that turquoise, and look at, as I get closer to this water's edge, I want to do a little bit more interesting stuff with that. So I'm just mixing it, and you can even mix your sand color in to that blue and make it look even more interesting. And see how I'm making little speckles? That's kind of how the foam looks. But make sure you maintain the white. You gotta have some white foam in there. So that's looking good. But I may even go a little bit darker in this far away area. I think I've got too much light blues in there. And see, I'm almost glazing over. You see what I'm doing? And I'm building that. Just building on top of that. So it's making it look even more pretty and distant, like the further away. Jen says, absolutely. Oh, you're waiting to go to dinner. Oh, yum. Are you still in Italy? I don't even know where you're at this moment. That'll be fun to go to dinner. And I'm just adding a couple more little light blue in here. Okay, a little bit more. Just because I can't help myself, you know. Sometimes I just got to add some more in there. Let's see what else we got going on. I want to return to this side. Sorry, my throat. I did have some honey, but it likes to get froggy on me. And I'm going to add a little bit of Payne's Grey to my green and see what happens. But I think it's a little wet. Let me see. So let me add and a little bit of red. Let me add some red to my green. So now I got this nice dark color. Look at that. That's beautiful. And I love it because it's going to be that little shadow. A little bit of a shadow. But today I got to get going right after my video because I'm meeting a lady who commissioned me to paint a Mustang, which, woo, y'all, I love the Mustang. Ford Mustang is the best, right? Or are you, what's like another muscle car? I'm just going to add the shadow onto these posts. I want to make them darker. I think I still got you zoomed in so you can see what I'm doing. But it's really cool, like how I'm adding a second layer to this. Like, y'all can see that it's starting to get darker as I'm putting this second layer. See how that's looking? And the shadow is light. I don't think I need to do anything with the shadow. I'm just going to keep adding to make some details here. Maybe a couple little darker areas for this grass. And that's a very big brush. We're using a big brush. I might switch back down. If you're finding it's hard to control what you're doing with the size brush you have, just go down the size. You don't have to use the biggest you have to do something. You can do other size brushes. That's why I like to have all kinds of different size brushes. But I am just flicking my little brush out just to create some grass. And I'm liking how that looks. That looks okay. I don't know. We'll see how it looks. I don't know. Only doing a little bit more grass over here, maybe. Maybe a little bit more grass right over here. And doing some shadow, which is the blue and the green mixed together. Sorry. Stop being hoarse, little voice. So I'm just adding some of that kind of greenish blue color to make some shadows, to make it interesting, just here and there. I'm not trying to keep it too, and I like that darker right along the water's edge because it's supposedly wet sand. Might need a little more orange. Put that orange color back in. Let's see, there we go. And water, you need lots of water. And you don't have to be too careful with this. This is not brain surgery. We're just having fun creating, right? And I do feel like this brush is not holding as much, it's not holding as much paint that I'd like. But look at how that's looking. I love how that looks. And you can even go out from there. And see, I need a bigger brush. It's not holding enough paint for me, or enough water, I should say. So I'm going to put a little bit more over here. That's looking pretty. So I do like that. I like that a lot. It's 5:23. Wow. I wonder what the time difference is, because it's like 10 o'clock, 10:30 almost here. So 10, 11, 12, 13, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 hours. That's not that big a difference, really. That's pretty doable. So now I'm looking at this and I think it's pretty much done as far as like a simple, quick, loose watercolor. You could add a little bit more Payne's Gray into the shadows, which I like to add just to make it a little darker. See how that just adds a little something? I like the shadows on this. Might add that Payne's Gray to this, but I know the rest of this is still wet, so I can't really do that. Can't do that. Stop bleeding, no bleeding. So I'm gonna have to let that dry, which I can speed up with my handy dandy tool. But check that out. I mean, it's pretty good. Let's see if it's gonna do what I want it to do. Let's see. Sometimes I'm impatient and I mess it up because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna just go for it. And then, oops, it was not dry enough. But I do kind of like how this is looking. See, that's really wet and might not be good. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I like how it's darker now, but it's definitely too damp underneath there a little bit. I can see it spreading. So I'm just gonna lift it, which this is a good lesson. If you mess up with watercolor, you can kind of erase it with your damp brush. You can lift up and it won't be too noticeable. It'll be kind of interesting anyways, right? We're kind of like interesting and not too perfect. That's why I like watercolor. It's not perfect. It's kind of it's an interesting type medium that I enjoy. Let's see what happens with this if I'm gonna add just this darker blue just further away from the viewer. So the bottom of the page is the closest part of the painting to the viewer, and the top of the painting is the furthest away. Okay, so you want to kind of keep that in mind as you're painting. So all your little waves are going to look tiny compared to the ones closest. So I'm just adding a little bit darker blues in here. I'm liking how that looks. I can even go in with my Payne's Gray. Look at what happens when I just go straight in with Payne's Gray. And it's blending because that's still really wet paper, wet paint. I like how it mixes with what's already on the paper. That's kind of pretty. So I don't know if you can see that. It's really coming together. And I'm going to use what already is wet in here and just kind of touch it just barely with the tip of my brush and see how that kind of spreads out a little bit. And it looks kind of looks good. Let's see. I'm just trying to bring out a couple more of these bigger, closer waves so that your mind is like, hey, that looks closer, right? And spread it with a clean, damp brush. And that looks good. Ooh, that's looking even better. See, as I'm building up, it's looking even better. I was thinking I might get to the sunset one today, but I don't know if I will because I gotta be somewhere right after the video. I gotta drive somewhere. We're down to one car. We got the other car is in the shop, hopefully to get fixed. We'll see. We'll see. But I'm adding just darker little nuances of the green now. Greenish blue, I should say. And that's just making this look like it's more the foam. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. And if I don't like how that's looking, I'll just wet my brush and kind of erase a little bit, you know, just dampen that and kind of make it softer. Because sometimes we do kind of go too dark and then we're like, ooh, what happened? What happened? Okay, so I'm liking how this looks. I think the footprints in there are really subtle. I think this is very subtle. I don't know. I feel like this is almost kind of small compared to over here. But in general, that looks pretty nice. I would frame that. I would put it on the wall. Like, I think that looks fairly nice. I don't know if the horizon line is straight. I didn't, I just kind of eyeballed it instead of drawing it. If it doesn't look straight, which it almost looks like it's kind of going down that way a little bit, we can always straighten when we frame it with a mat. I always keep a mat on my desk. Do you guys do that? So this is a 5x7 mat. And so you can just kind of see how that looks. So however you have a painting when you do it. You can rotate your frame, your mat. You can do a lot. You know what I'm saying? Heck, you could probably go this direction if I had made it big enough. That'd be kind of cool to have that. Or over here, something like that. Yeah, so I keep a mat on my desk. That's a little tip for you too. If you want to kind of frame it and see what it looks like. But that is looking really good. I think I like that. And I always say, you know, you don't have to be too, oops, where am I at? You don't have to be perfect when you're painting. I think a lot of people feel like they have to be perfect, especially if you're starting out. You don't have to be perfect. Like I remember not really liking watercolor in my 20s when I took a class because I wasn't good at it. And because I wasn't good at it, I quit. And if you think about it, like 20, 30 years ago, if I had stuck with it, where would I be now? I'd be so much more advanced, right? But I ended up quitting because I wasn't good at it. All right, see you later, Janice. Have fun. Enjoy your meal. So yeah, I'm one of those that I like to be good at it from the get-go. Like if I'm not good at it, I feel like it's not for me. But I want to encourage you because I did try watercolor again in 2020, which was only 5 years ago. I started it back up, learned from Paul Clark on YouTube, followed along to his tutorials every day, and learned so much because I painted every day. So if you're really serious about improving on anything you want to try in life, you need to practice it every day. And you might think like, I don't have time to practice. I don't know if you just saw what we did, but we made this in less than 30 minutes. Like I totally, like, let me show you again in case you're just joining me. Look at this. We did this in 30 minutes. I say we, me and the little mouse in my pocket. Or my little dog on the floor. That I can show you, but he's taking a little nap. He's enjoying being in here. But yeah, this took 30 minutes. Less than 30 minutes. And I didn't even draw anything first. I just went for it. But you can see through the whole video, like how many times I painted over this. Like the water was not done. This was not done with one layer of paint. This was done with multiple layers of paint, multiple. And if I really wanted to, like, guess what? I could go in there with a kind of darker blue and see what happens, right? Sometimes we go in, we start doing more. I'm always like, if you want to keep painting and your painting's done, just start a new painting, right? You don't have to keep doing more work on a painting unless you're done. I mean, if it's done, you don't have to keep going on this one. You can start a new one. That's what I love about watercolor is it's a piece of paper, y'all. It's not really, it's not going to take up a lot of space. I do like that darker blue in there. Do y'all like that? Let me see what happens if I do it over here. Ooh, look at that. Can you see that? That is really pretty. I like how that's looking. Do you like it? I'm trying to make some little tiny waves. Little tiny waves. Then they get bigger as you get closer to the shore. And see, I'm just adding a little bit just because I thought, hey, why not show you guys what I'm doing. To kind of add more contrast in there. I think that looks really good. Makes those waves look really further back. And these ones a lot closer. This could have been bigger, I think. I just kind of made a small little fence. So it probably could have been a little bigger, but that's okay. I didn't want to make it the focus, really. I just wanted it to direct your eye towards the water a little bit, like an angle, show you a little bit of perspective. I could have made it totally bigger, but that's okay. It's fine. And I like the shadows real light on the sand. I like everything. I like the dark shadows under the grass. I like how that looks. It looks pretty good. So yeah, I liked it. So you know how I like to end in scripture. So we're going to end a little early just so I can get to where I'm meeting someone on time. I don't like, well, I am late all the time to wherever I'm going, but when I'm meeting someone, I don't want to keep them waiting. So I try to be there. Be there. I grabbed a handful of these different scriptures that are on my desk, and I am looking through them and I'm trying to see. I don't know which one. The first one was, I don't know. There's a couple good ones here. I'm actually studying the book of Proverbs, and my homework was basically about Proverbs today. So I've been focusing on those and trying to apply it to my life. It's so hard sometimes to be Christian and walk this world where there's evil all around. Sometimes my own thoughts get me down because it's like, what? Why am I so upset about all these things going on around me? When I'm a Christian, I'm not supposed to be afraid. I'm not supposed to be upset about these things. I mean, I do mourn with those who've lost loved ones and things, but I feel like there's just a heaviness lately. And so I think this one is really a good one. It's Proverbs 16:20, and it says, "Trust me and be happy. Happy is the one who puts her trust in the Lord." Happy. I think there's another word besides happy, because you can't just be happy when there's so many sad things happening, right? That would be fake, and I don't think we're called to be fake. But I think as a Christian, you know, when you're saved by Jesus's blood, that he died on the cross for you. For your sin, and that he loves you. That's why he did it. And when you trust in that and you believe that what he did wasn't in vain, it was actually to save you. And you feel like a joy because you don't have to suffer now in eternity separated from God. Instead, you get to look forward to an eternity with God in a perfect place. Like if you can imagine paradise. So let's look at this. Does this look like it could be paradise? I think so. I love the beach. I love the warmth. I love summer. I love just the cool breeze and the sound of the roaring waves. Those are the thoughts that come to mind when I think of my happy place, as some people want to call it, a happy place. So I think of the beach when I think of my happy place. And I know a lot of people, they vacation in Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, which is local. And it's just a beautiful place to go. The water is gorgeous, turquoise, and the sand is white. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful world that God created for us to live in. But think about this, even with all the evil in our world, there's beauty here. So that's why I think when it says happy is the one who puts her trust in the Lord, I think it means that we can enjoy the goodness of this world, even with the bad things happening, is that God created this good world for us to enjoy. So definitely don't feel bad if you're happy. I mean, I feel like as a Christian, there's a lot of weight right now on us knowing that there's more things happening and they're getting closer and closer, like the birth pains of Revelation that talks about Jesus returning. And I do believe he's returning soon. And what does soon mean? When he said that to his disciples, it was, 2,000 years ago. And he said soon. So what is soon to the Lord? As another 1,000 years from now could be the rapture. We don't know. We can't set that date, but we should be living as if today could happen. It could happen. And that's how the disciples were able to live out their faith, was believing he was coming back like tomorrow. They were like urgent in telling the world about him because they love everyone. Like if you're a believer in Christ, you love everyone. You want them to be saved. You don't want to be like, heaven's just for me and my friends. I don't want anyone else. That is not what the Lord called his disciples to do. That's not what Jesus called them to do. He said, go and tell the world and make disciples. So that's what we're called to do. And we can do that joyfully, even with everything going on in this world. And if we keep our eyes focused on Jesus, we won't sink. We won't be depressed and full of anxiety. We can have a moment of that, but we're not stuck in that. The power is in us, right? So my voice is starting to go again. And I think it's because I just don't talk enough during the whole week. I need to start talking more, y'all. Talking. But I'm so excited to go meet with my client and show her the finished commission I have. And I don't know, I'm excited about a lot of opportunities that are coming up. So I'm hopeful that the Lord has some big plans for me still to encourage others with my art and with my faith, and to keep spreading the gospel, and to keep loving all my friends and family and anyone I meet, and just being the light in this dark world. It's just, that's what we're called to be, is the light in this dark world. So don't hide your light. Don't put it under a basket. Y'all need to be bold and brave and have no fear and be joyful. So I hope this has been a blessing to you all. I love you and I pray for you all, and I hope you have a blessed day.